Tell you what, if I'm a Golden State Warrior fan, I'm reinvigorated by that game last night. Come back from 17 down, beat the Celtics, get help from a lot of people. It's a check all the box win. 3 in a row. I like it.
You seem like a brand new man this morning, Steiny.
Well,
I don't know if it's just the haircut or what. But
no, this is one of those things that it's bigger than the Warriors. It's about basketball. And that game last night gave me basketball enjoyment. And it did so for a number of reasons. Because I'm watching that game last night, and I'm thinking, can they come back? Oh, look at Dale Davis's kid. Hey, look at Klay knocking down shots, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not thinking, well, I don't think they can win a title, though. Can they win? Who cares? Who cares? They're 13-14. They've won 3 in a row. You can see a positivity over the last 3 games that wasn't there before. You won 44 games last year. Can you win 50? I don't know. Maybe a little high. Can you win 45? Yeah, maybe. How about 47, 48? Who knows? Can you get to the 5th seed? Can you get higher than that? Who are you going to play if you get the 5th seed? You got a good matchup with the 4th seed? Knock them off. That's what last night did for me. It gave me a much better perspective of the future. Is this a championship team? No, not right now. No, it's not. We know that. Could they get there? Well, last night was a pretty good starting point.
Yeah, and I think your point is that's not the point. Like last night, in the grand scheme of things, they're a game below 500. They're a game out of the 10th seed. But last night was, and it's funny, we were talking about on the show yesterday how, if you're a real Warriors fan and you've been through the highs and the lows, you've seen it all. And that's kind of how I felt watching the game last night. I didn't think about 4 championships or a 5th. I didn't think about even Draymond Green last night. I thought about what I was watching, which was a great basketball game between 2 teams that are familiar with each other, that have had different storylines coming in, and the Warriors. And I know we'll dig into this 17 different ways because we can, and that's another beautiful part about this game, but it's at this point of the season, that's a kind of win, along with what they did over the weekend, that opens doors to possibilities of what this season could be. And to me, it was a stabilizing victory. It was the most significant one of the season, no doubt. And it brought some balance to a place in their year that was becoming pretty rickety, that was becoming very fragile. And for them to lose Draymond to suspension, and then you blow double-digit leads left and right. That was the first night they came from behind in a game. They were down 17 with about 5 left in the third quarter. And for Curry to do what he did, just put another highlight in his Hall of Fame resume. Last night was about the experience. And to be there in front of the Chase Center crowd was incredibly cool. And it just feels like there was a lot of juice that was injected into that building last night. And that's why people go to the games. That's why people watch the Warriors, because you could see something special every single night. And last night they gave it to us.
To me, last night was a game where, why did it mean something? Well, it meant something from an opponent standpoint. No doubt about it. You are playing the best team in the Eastern Conference. It was important because of the way it happened, with some unexpected contributors and with Klay getting back on track a little bit more. Obviously Jackson Davis helping out a big deal. So the way it happened last night was big. Just the dialogue around the team. I hate to say it, but one of the best things about that game last night was, it puts Draymond Green more into the back burner. Mm-hmm. And you can't tell me that the Warriors weren't playing fun last night or trying to have fun. I know they were down 17, and it's all easy when you, or not easy, but it looks different as you're coming back. But I just felt like last night I saw a team you can work with, and now it's a matter of how do we try to get better. Because I feel like up until that, and I'm not saying, and I don't believe in big NBA turning points, but I don't think we really knew what this team could be before this. All right, I'm not saying they're a title team, but this was a good game last night, especially offensively. And now you try to figure out how you fine tune it. You get the minutes, maybe more consistent. Because clearly what's happening right now is Looney is being. We talked about this yesterday. Mm-hmm. The transition's happening.
There is one.
It's just happening more slowly than some people would like.
But in a way, though, Steiny, it's like, okay, so they're 27 games in now to an 82-game year. If you told me that last night was kind of the best example of a transition happening in time that results in a win against a quality opponent, that's not that long into the season. Like, so I know people wanted this or they thought it could happen earlier, but in a way, and maybe it's because of Draymond's absence, I also think GP2's absence plays a role in this as well. There's minutes that are open and up for grabs. And to the credit of the younger players, which is why I think the transition is happening now, it's being expedited, is because for the most part, every time that Kerr has either been forced to or gone to a younger guy, those players have made the most of their opportunity, and they've been ready for the moment.
Right.
Whether it's taken 3 years for Jonathan Kuminga to get to this point, it doesn't really matter now. Like, he looks like a player that can be in the starting lineup and can clearly help you against a 20-win basketball team. Brandon Podziemski, though he got hurt last night, probably a little bit bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at the beginning of the game, but then settled in before he had to leave. And, of course, Trayce Jackson-Davis, who for the second consecutive game gave you big minutes off the bench and provided something that the Warriors have not had this season, which is a rim protector, a guy that can get up and down the floor as a big, and someone that also is able to at least provide some sort of threat as a rim runner and a pick-and-roll partner for either Curry or Chris Paul. And they haven't had that big, Looney is a guy that can certainly do some things, but TJD provides a different
level of athleticism.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Last night, the Golden State Warriors finished with Curry, Klay, Chris Paul, Kuminga, and Jackson Davis. So, right there, that goes to show you that Wiggins is no longer an automatic. Looney is no longer automatic, though he never was, but he could be in some finishing lineups under different circumstances. So there it is. I mean, who else do you want to play and take out? You know what I'm saying? Oh, I want Moody in there. Well, then you got to take Klay out last night. You're not doing that.
Or you got to take Paul out.
Right.
No, the closing lineup last night was the correct choice. And clearly because they won the game, but they played like we haven't. And honestly, I know there was a stretch at the beginning of the season in which they played well. They were 5-1, 6-2. And that's one thing that I was thinking about last night is the performance last night to me does in a way confirm what I've been feeling, but I hadn't been seeing, which was I do think that this Warriors team, I don't know if they're a championship team or they're title contender, but to me, even during the 4-12 stretch over the 16 games, I felt like they were closer to being the team from the 5-1 start than during that terrible stretch. They're probably somewhere in the middle, but as of late, I think being able to get wins that were important against teams that they had to this weekend brought them into this game against a Boston team that's down one of their best players also. Porzingis was out, and they had a chance on a national stage to prove that they are not the team that everyone is going to write off and the dynasty's over. No, let's give these guys some more time And we talked about it yesterday, Steiny, the fact that these next 3 weeks are huge. And that, I think, is a great jumping off point to what, ideally, the next 10 to 15 games can be.
Yeah, 888-957-9570 is the number. Evan Giddings in for Daryl the Guru Johnson today. Guru will be back. He'll be back next week, week between Christmas and New Year's. But I'm just telling you, last night's game, if I'm a Warrior fan, has me feeling a certain type of way, as Daryl the Guru Johnson would say. You got the perfect mix of the young guys and the old guys. And and here's the other thing. Okay, so we're 15 minutes into the show, and we haven't even talked about, Steph Curry hit a pretty big shot last night.
He did. He hit a lot of big shots last night.
You know, the thing that, and I've said this dozens and dozens of times over the last 5 years, but Steph Curry, I have never watched basketball and shaken my head more after a player makes a play, where he just, you just can't do anything. You just can't do anything. You defend it, you make him shoot it a split second early, you make him pump fake one extra time, you make him hesitate just a hair. Doesn't matter sometimes. Pretty incredible. And that's the other reason, Evan, I was thinking, it'd be great to win a fifth title. But the reality is, if the Warriors never win another title again after this, we still have Curry's 50-point game against Sacramento in the postseason. And we have nights like last night.
And he's continuing to do it at age 35. Like, this is his 15th year in the league, and he doesn't look like he's skipped a beat. It's incredible. Like, that shot he took last night, even though he shot it into orbit and it came back down, was there any part of you that felt like that wasn't going in?
No.
Like, he got that ball off with, I think, 2 or 3 seconds left. A fantastic tip out by TJD. Kuminga also got in for the offensive rebound. And then Paul, I thought Chris Paul was going to take that shot just because I think he got it with like 5 seconds left with his back to the basket. And he turns and immediately looks for Curry and just whips a pass into the pocket. And it's like the ball's not even in his hands. It's in the pocket, and it's up, and it's up, and it's up. And then it falls down, and it touches nothing but nylon. And the entire place just exploded. And it might have been a premature night, but he gives the Celtics the night yet again. And it's like, this guy's the best show that I've ever seen. Like, you go to a concert, you see great performers. You go to the movies, you see incredible acting. Stephen Curry's the best live performer I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, here's one thing I thought is easy on the premature. I mean, put him up 4 with 10 seconds left. I mean, this isn't the MAC conference. I mean, one Jason Tatum 3, and all of a sudden it's a 1-point game again with 7. And unfortunately, Steph, you still got a chance to turn it over in the backcourt.
Well, it might have been a 3.
You never know.
Tatum wasn't hitting that 3.
I mean, losing a 4-point lead in 10 seconds isn't the most crazy thing that can happen in the NBA. So,
or to the Warriors.
True. But last night was a great game at Chase Center, and the Warriors win it 132-126. A lot of real good stuff for the Golden State Warriors. Steve Kerr singling out Trace Jackson-Davis, Curry phenomenal. Klay now.
Mm-hmm.
Klay now. 3 solid games in a row, but to me, more important than that is 3 solid games in a row that they've won. Like, that's what matters.
Yeah. I mean, and even going back to the game against the Clippers, he was 8 of 12 from 3. I think that kind of got, like, since Klay Thompson got benched in the fourth quarter against Phoenix, he's shooting 50% from 3. And it's been a consistent 50%. Like, it's not as if one game he's taken 18 threes and the next game he's taken 4. No, 12, 9, 10. Last night he took 15. But the types of shots that he's taking, too, I think are also really important. Like, there was a couple of he's always going to take a couple heat checks, especially if he hits them. But the 6 for 15 last night didn't feel like it killed you because they weren't they weren't those kind of live ball turnovers that are basically shots, like just terrible looks, long rebounds, leak outs, easy baskets on the other side. There weren't as many of those as we've seen early in the year. And I also think Klay Thompson showed in overtime that he's not afraid to be a playmaker when he's like, this is part of Klay Thompson's game that I think he's always kind of had, but has maybe been more, he's needed to use it more, as when he's shooting well, he automatically demands attention. And that means that he can set up others. He set up Trace Jackson-Davis in overtime after a pump fake on a 3. I thought he was going to take a long 2, dumps it off to TJD for an easy basket. Like, those are plays that Klay Thompson can make and has made in the past prior to his injuries and even after. But we're seeing it more consistently now. And not only the 50% shooting, but also the last 4 games, you're looking at 13 assists from Klay Thompson. You're looking at 2 turnovers the last 4 games from Klay Thompson. So I know that it's taken him a long time to get here. Like you were talking about, it's taken maybe longer than people would like for Steve Kerr to use more pieces of his rotation. Right. It's taken longer for Klay Thompson this year than even last year. But that's why I couldn't give up on him, and why I never felt like he was in question of going to the bench.
We're essentially a third of the way now through the season, 27 games. 27 plus 27 plus 27, that equals 81. And the NBA season's 82. Mm-hmm. So we're about a third of the way through the season. I like measuring points. So I'm looking at the YouTube chat, and I just caught one stray, a random, but it said, who's guarding Jokic in the postseason? And now we got Ray in Watsonville, and it says, Ray may think the Warriors are going to be dangerous in the playoffs.
Uh-oh.
I guess this is what I'm talking about. I'll take you, Ray, because I love you. I love you. But I think we need to start just leaving that alone for a while. Go ahead, Ray. Ray, did I talk you out of it already?
You shut him down. No, call back, Ray.
Yeah, well, 888-957-9570 is the number. The point kind of still stands. It's not the time to worry about Jokic. It's not the time to worry about...
Not until Christmas.
True. It's not the time to worry about who we can beat or who we can't beat in the playoffs. It's probably not even the time to say, do we want to make a move right now? We talked about that yesterday. No, not right now. Soonest we're going to talk about making a move is in 10 games, 10, 12 games. But that's the soonest. That's the very soonest.
We're talking about last night. Like that's the kind of game, though.
Tell me more.
That all you want to do when... All right, so if I wasn't working here...
Jim Belushi?
I don't know, to be quite honest. If I'm going into a corporate building, if I'm going to my construction job, if I was back working in an Amazon warehouse doing graveyard shifts, that's the kind of game that I walk into work the next day and say, dude, did you see the game last night? Like, we were talking to one of our coworkers at KCBS over here who is going home to watch the second half of the game because he heard about what happened.
Right.
He had a chance to watch the first half, saw Pajemski go down, and then had to turn off because he had to come in early and work. And now he's going back to watch the rest of the game. That's the kind of game that it was. And it doesn't mean the Warriors are all of a sudden a championship worthy. It doesn't mean all of it. Like, again, they still got to beat Washington on Friday.
Right.
They still got to beat Portland on Saturday. That gives you a chance to go above 500 for the first time since earlier in the year. That's all in front of them. But the game last night was something to behold because I think of what we talked about yesterday, which is a look at a transitionary period for this team and in this season in which we're seeing guys that are 25 and younger and guys that, I guess if you include Looney, are 27 and older, playing together in a fashion that is conducive to winning. And that hasn't always been the case.
888-957-9570 is the number. I've been thinking about it in the last week or so before this little streak. I mean, there was not a lot of good stuff to talk about with the Golden State Warriors. They were losing. They'd lost 12 of 16. Draymond had been suspended. And now they put 3 straight wins together. And I even remember me coming in Monday saying, hey, they did what they had to do. They beat 2 teams. And the nature of the NBA is somebody can say, well, they only won 2 games, but you could say it's the start of something. And then when you beat the Celtics, now all of a sudden it's 3 games. You're 1 game under 500, and you got the Wizards coming in on Friday. 500 is somewhere you want to be at this point. Then can you get a few games over 500? I just don't.
Especially when you're 4 games below 500.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about title right now. I'm not thinking about matchups. I'm not thinking about Jokic. I want to thank the 707, though, here on the Comcast Business text line, because it'll help me explain something, officially and unofficially. Mm-hmm. Dang, Steiny, you still won't say Steph hit a game winner. That's sad. Yeah, that's not a game winner last night. It's a dagger. Last night, I think, is officially a dagger. When you're up 1 and you seal it. Like, whoever made the shot before Steph, I think, gets the game winner, or, right? Whoever scored the 127th point for the Warriors.
Oh, because Curry's put them up by 4.
Yeah,
like it wasn't for the lead.
Yeah, it's like you can get a game. I don't know if they still do it.
I don't think they trailed in overtime. So technically, Kuminga's...
Oh, I forgot about overtime. My bad.
Well, the shot was in OT, but the Kuminga pick 6 at the top of the key, like that technically is the game winner.
It could have been.
Put him up.
Right. Exactly. But do they still do it in baseball where if you beat a team 10-, let's say you beat a team 10-1, and you're the home team that won, you gave up a run in the top of the first.
Yeah.
And then you have a guy, your number 2 hitter hits a 2-run homer. You go on to win it 11-1, 10-1. Does your number 2 hitter get a game-winning RBI?
No. Well,
I think it used to be where you did get a game-winning RBI for that kind of stuff. Believe it or not.
If you give up, well, I was going to say that, I mean, just wins and losses.
Sure.
But if you're the pitcher that gave up that 2-run home run, you get tagged with the L.
No, that is true. That is true. From the 415 on the Comcast Business text line, Steph hit a dagger, but let's be honest, he didn't play great for the most part. Let's give Klay more credit. You know, that's generally I was thinking about that too, and that's the other great thing that happens when you win. You talk less, and it means less that certain guys maybe didn't play great. It's just the way it goes. To me, the most important part of last night is that Klay's been playing well, and now he's been playing well and wins. It doesn't matter as much if you play well and you don't win. And similarly, just the way it goes, yeah, okay, Wiggins, I thought Wiggins was active, couldn't make a shot, but we probably won't talk a lot about Wiggins today, and rightfully so. I mean, he didn't kill him.
Yeah.
And he just didn't make shots.